Hinamatsuri Volume 1 is the manga. After watching the animated series, I think YouTube blocked my video because I used too many clips from YouTube. So you might not be able to watch it, so I'll probably re-upload it or something. But anyways, I want to check out the manga after watching the show because it's hilarious. There's a bit of a curve because after watching the show, you're kind of familiar with the story, and the first couple volumes of the manga will probably be stuff that you've already seen. But I want to, I think there's like 12 to, I think there's actually like 17 volumes of the manga released in Japan, and there's about 12 to 13 released in English. So I wanted to check out this one. The first volume basically covers the first episode of the manga. The manga isn't much different. The let's see, they move stuff around with the framework. For example, the opening scene with Hina showing up in the apartment is done as a flashback, and then the first chapter is literally the first episode, and they don't really do that much of a difference. But they take parts of chapters, I think 4, and move that into episode 1. They also make some more final changes in the show. For example, I think in this entire volume there's a couple of stories and chapters that are completely excised from the show. So I mean, that's great. That's one of the reasons why I read One Punch Man, because there's little comics and extra tidbits and jokes that you don't get in the show. If you read the manga, you get everything. So there's a few stories in here that are not in the show, so that was nice. They're pretty funny. And I think they change a lot of stuff around, because I think the reason why they didn't include those in the show is to make it more of a comedy. The yakuza stories kind of make it more of a crime thriller type thing. I'm trying to remember what else happened in this. Let's see. There was 2 yakuza stories in here. Then we also get parts of episode 2 at the end. Well, that's the storyline in which Nita neglects Hina because he wants to become a bachelor life again. So that's used for episode 2, and that's the second half of the first volume. Then we got volume 2 of Hinamatsuri, which is, let's see, this one is all about Anzu. So basically it's Anzu coming in, having a duel with Hina, and becoming homeless. That's the second half of episode 2 and episode 3 mainly. So let's see, after the homeless part, then they go on to the whole Hina gets disowned by Nita because she breaks all of his stuff. They change a lot of the stuff in the show to make more sense, but the manga is still enjoyable. There's still some laughs in there. And once I get to the part where I surpass the show, because the show, episode 12 of the show doesn't really have much of an ending, but there's going to be a point where you get past the manga where you get original stuff only, and that'll be more interesting. So I'm waiting for the library to order volume 3, and then they have 4 to 12, I believe, so we'll be waiting for that. Hinamatsuri volume 3 is the continuing adventures of Nita and Hina. So this collection actually has 2 stories that aren't in the anime, so that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to check out the manga. So that's one of the reasons why you should read manga as well as watch the anime if you really like that story. So we start off with the story of Hitomi, the girl bartender. They start with, there's a whole half episode of the anime like that, and then they quickly, they do the Nita going to see his family about Hina, which doesn't happen later in the anime. And then we get the 2 stories of one at Nita at work, and then the other one's Nita going to her school. And like I noticed that there's also another school incident that happened in the first 2 volumes. It looks like the writers of the anime completely excised anything that has to do with Nita going to the school for any sort of like parent-teacher event or anything like that, which is weird. So you won't get those stories if you watch the anime, but after the family thing, let's see. We get the Anzu and Hitomi storyline, where with the TV and them picking up cans and becoming friends and showing how humble she is. And yeah, not much more than that. So I'll continue reading the series. And we'll see what's volumes 4 through, I think the library has up till 9. So we'll see. Hinamatsuri Volume 4 is the continuation of this series. We start off with a short story about Hina talking about the old band she hung out with. Rock Illusion, what they're all about. So she shows up and gives them one last hurrah, and Nita's there. He doesn't approve. Then there's this hilarious story that was never in the anime about debt collecting. I noticed that the anime did cut off a lot of the storylines in which Hina gets involved with yakuza stuff because they're trying to go for the family thing, but I guess they had to be really choosy with what was ended up in the anime. So a lot of the anime has like 1, 2, or 3 stories per episode that they sort of had to cherry pick and choose and move the order around. So, you know, Volume 4, I mean, and also Volume 3, it is basically telling you that the manga is definitely worth checking out if you like the anime. If you enjoyed the anime Hinamatsuri and you want more content, then yes, the manga does have stories, and not just like little extras. You know, every volume there's like full-on chapters that are hilarious that are not in the anime. So Volume 4 has one about the debt collecting. That's a hilarious one. And then we move on to her hanging out with Anzu for a little bit. And then we get that Hitomi story where some of the students at the school find out that she's bartending. And, you know, that's, you know, repetitive because you've already seen that in the anime. And then we have a story about, oh yeah, Nita's sister comes in and she's a bum, and she hangs out with them for like 2 months. So I'm not going to do a deep dive review of the others. I've read volumes 5 through 8, and you know, they do follow the TV show, and there's a couple chapters in each that have a new story. So I think they introduced Mao in the 8th volume, and I'm waiting for the 9th from the library. So yes, definitely going to continue reading this series, but I don't want to go into 5 through 8 because I don't need to. And there's some, you know, if you've seen the show, there's going to be some repetitive parts in the books because you've already seen that. But there are small changes here and there, and there's extra chapters that are hilarious. So that'll be my collective review of Hinamatsuri Volumes 1 to 8. And then I think we're at 13 at the library. We'll have to wait for certain volumes to be ordered. So I'll review 9 to 12 or 13 later on. So overall, Hinamatsuri, the manga, is definitely worth checking out because there's extra content if you like the story and the show. If you're someone who hasn't consumed either, it's also recommended too. But the anime has slightly better animation than the character design in the books. But overall, definitely worth checking out if you want more content.